everyone, welcome to the Space Viking Chronicles. I'm Margaret Krohn, and today I am joined by a whole new slew of people, some of which you may have already known through our other SVK journeys for the kids at St Jude, and also another new person who's joined us on our quest to save the world, one D&D game at a time, or something like that. I don't know. We're doing something, and we're raising money. So if you'd like to join in, I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. But in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of let everybody go around and introduce themselves. Everyone can introduce their characters except for Erwin or Yerwin. I don't know how you want that to be pronounced. Is it? Oh, hold on one second. I gotta unmute you. What'd you say?
Erwin, you got it right the first time.
I got it, Erwin? Okay. I thought it was Erwin. Someone else called you Yerwin, and I was like, is it Yerwin? Oh no.
They call me a few things, but they're all
okay.
wrong.
Yeah. They call me a few things. I'll try not to call you some of those other things. We'll see what happens progressively through the evening.
Fair enough.
But we'll go around. Just don't introduce your character quite yet, because we're going to make a little entrance for yours. So starting off, Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself and, of course, the wonderful Van.
Hello, a little bit about myself. I'm Frank. That's really all anyone ever needs to know. Ooh, there's a little bit of an echo. So, about Van. Van is a, like, 3.5 foot tall halfling. Incredibly handsome, incredibly cool. Just like me. He's about 3'5". He's wearing a red suit for some reason, and he's very fast for another reason.
What does your red suit look like? It's.
I had to look up what a flash suit was. So, it is like a red jumpsuit that goes all the way down from like neck to toe. He no longer has boots on. This is like
it has like a lightning bolt symbol on the front with a circle. It's made out of like this interesting fiber that like no one has ever seen before because this is Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm going to access the Speed Force.
He might be part of some kind of superhero group now. We don't know. And for those of you who don't know how he got that suit, he got it. Someone donated for a magic item, and he got a suit. And specifically, the suit that a Tyrannosaurus Rex was wearing at one point in our previous campaign. So, yeah, crazy stuff happens on this show. Prepare your butts. Next up is, of course, Roxy, played by Tech Priest Khan, which is not on the screen because he goes by another name on Twitter. Tech Priest, tell us a little bit about you and, of course, the wonderful Roxy.
Hello, I am Can or Tech Priest Can. I usually lurk, but I'm playing Roxy, the Tiefling Cleric, who is a blob and thinks she's 6 years old. So...
yeah, she thinks she's 6 years old, and she's a blob because all of your muscles turn to...
all my fat.
All your fat turned to... so you still have, like, the bones in there. She's like an ooze now. It's kind of gross.
I was like, the closest thing I could compare her to is, there's an anime called Into the Abyss. There's a character, I think her name was, like, Missy or something like that. That's... ideally what Roxy looks like right now.
And because Van's character has another thing, you have like kids cry when they're near you? Is that what it is? Yeah, so Roxy's gonna have some interesting interactions with Van. Next is Yerwin. Just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about you, whatever you're willing to share with the internet. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite anime? What game could you not live without if you don't have anything else?
Oh my gosh, my favorite food is pad thai. My favorite anime was Cowboy Bebop because that's about as current as I am, 2002 Toonami or so. Game I could not live without. Ultima Online probably really weaponized me into the nerd I am today. Although Mega Man 2 was that first baby step back when it was brand new. I'm a host on a podcast called Fear the Boot. We go back to 2006 talking about tabletop RPGs. So you can check that out at feartheboot.com. And I really dislike cancer. I am doing this game in tribute to our friend Pat, who we lost last year to that disease. So I am happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me, Margaret.
Yeah, no problem. Fuck cancer. Anyways. Next up is Uthal, played by the wonderful Nate. You're gonna have to explain to us why the fuck you have a clock on your head.
Muted. So I'm playing Uthal. He's a.
Is that
7
heavy?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to understand what's going on up there. Go ahead.
I'm a 7'11" Goliath. He is cursed by the wild magics to have everything happen to him. So this was one of them. The other one that I really couldn't represent was having my veins inside out.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
So
Draw like red or blue lines or something.
I thought about it.
Does that curse also involve only winning the World Series every century?
Maybe.
He's a rock creature too, so it's interesting. We were actually talking about that before, like what your veins would look like as like kind of a more like stone looking creature.
Yeah, stony blue almost.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
It might be a little different than a human's veins.
Yeah.
I feel like. Well, anyways, so that's our crew of people, other than Erwin, who you're going to learn about his character, which is Gaz, in a little bit. But to give you the spiel about how this works and what we're doing here, we have a permanent world that always stays the same. Well, not always stays the same. The world continues living on as we bring in new adventures every single week, and they always start in the inn every week. And there's a message board where they can pick some quests. I always provide them with like a medium, an easy, a medium, hard, and a deadly quest, and they can kind of choose as a group what adventure they would like to go on every week. Sometimes we'll do a continued adventure, but we try to like wrap it up each week and bring in a new slew of people who are space Vikings. So if you're a subscriber and you're interested in joining and you haven't joined us yet, all we require is a microphone and a camera, obviously because we're putting on a show. And you can just let anybody know in the Discord. If you do !Discord, you can join our Discord. You don't have to be a sub, but if you are a sub, you can message someone with a blue name and they'll flag you if you meet all the requirements. But if you're here watching live, or if you're watching at home and you're on the YouTubes, you can still donate. But if you're watching live, you can affect the game right here. So to the right of me, might still be on your right. I'm not sure. This is like, it's illusions. Over here, you can do !St Jude in the chat, right here on Twitch. And you can donate to change all kinds of things. $5 gives an inspiration to a player. Make sure you tell me which player that is, otherwise I will choose. $10, you can donate a natty 1 or a natty 20 to a player. If you don't tell me if it's a natty 1 or natty 20, I will choose. And if you don't tell me who it's for, I will also choose. But you can choose too. And you can also give it to me as well if you want. A wild magic for $15. This makes a whole slew of new things happen. It is crazy. That's the reason why Nate has a clock on his head. I don't know how long you're gonna keep that clock on your head. Nate, you can start with an inspiration because that's just ridiculous. You get inspiration for coming with a clock on your head. That's absurd. So don't give Nate an inspiration because you can only have one at a time.
Can that stack with my other 2 that I somehow have that you told me to write down last time?
Oh, yeah, that was because somebody donated like a insane amount of money last week, right? Or the week. Yeah.
2 weeks ago now.
You have to use those pretty quickly. That just gives you advantage on rolls anyway. And of course, you can give those to other people too. Don't forget that. $20 donates a magic item to a player, or you can tell me, or it could be for me. But just tell me who it's for. You can recommend what you would like it to be, but in the end, I will choose what the item will be. So it makes sense with the world, otherwise things get a little out of hand, as we noticed the first time we did this. I gotta keep some semblance of balance in this chaos, which I think I've been doing an alright job at. And $30, of course, you get to be a part of making this game chaotic even further by providing a threat into the game. A threat does not always have to mean immediate combat. It can be something where someone will bump into somebody and now there's like a confrontation that they have to ease their way out of, whether it's through physical or conversation and RP. It can also mean that I can buff a mob that's on the floor already, etc., or bring in new monsters or all kinds of crazy things. That's what $30 does. You can also recommend, but most of the time I'm going to kind of choose what makes the most sense and put it out there I'd like to mention that Wild Magic is going to be a little bit different this time. We got a new PDF, as well as I can actually search now, so I don't have to scroll. It's going to be a lot faster than it was before. So Wild Magics won't be like me going, I gotta find the number. I can actually just type it in. It's going to be great. So
That's nice.
It also means people can't search it beforehand. Even
yes.
chat.
Mwahaha, you evil.
Stares at Nate.
I know, Nate. You gotta not know. It's a secret.
I stopped.
I like seeing your guys' reactions because it's like one of my favorite things. So I'll kind of give you guys the intro of what's happening, and then we'll introduce our newest character. So bringing ourselves in, it's another day in Flipsville, our wonderful town that has had a lot of very interesting things happening in it. Last week, they had a dinosaur attack, which I believe Vand came into the inn hooting and hollering about, and no one believed him because he looked a little crazy, like he might have lost all his things and been a little delusional. Turns out he was right. There was a dinosaur. But, fortunately for them, a red dragon came down and took the T-Rex. So, there's also a red dragon out there somewhere with a T-Rex. For non-nefarious reasons, because someone donated $50 to ensure that the T-Rex is not being harmed. I can't remember who that was that donated that. I will scroll back.
I think it was old Mr. Frodo.
I think it might have been old Mr. Frodo.
Hashtag
Save Barry, you
Rags.
monster. It was Chris Henderson, I believe.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah. Oh, and also, yeah, that was who provided that, as well as I think Rage Strike donated $30 on top of that. So altogether, Barry was saved. That's the T-Rex names. I don't know. You guys named him. So that is kind of what happened last week, and that group of came back into the inn and rested for the evening before the next day, which they were planning to go find the children of Mr. Shoe Polish and go meet up with him. But not sure who all went on that adventure. I know Vand had originally perhaps agreed to join them. Vand, did you end up going with them, or what happened after the T-Rex situation?
After the T-Rex situation, Vand, after having ran nonstop for 3 months, decided to take a nap in the inn.
How long did he rest for? Do you want to roll for it?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to roll like a 1d10?
For 1.
Wow. 1 day and he was recovered. That's pretty good. For how much you were running, that's insane. So Vand slept for entire 24 hours and awoke. I guess the party probably left without you because they tried to knock on your door, you didn't answer, they just assumed you were probably out. The next morning, you awaken, and 2 familiar faces are out in the inn eating a meal together. This would be Roxy and Uthal. Roxy, a little puddle of blob, I'm assuming Uthal just put on the chair to make her feel like she's comfortable.
Like she's a person.
And a very large 7+ foot tall Goliath eating his meal at the other end of the table, or next to her at the table. What do you do, Vand?
Vand is immediately going to approach Uthal and just hands on his hip, look up at him. All right, Longlegs, it looks like
you know Uthal anyway.
You got your legs back. And something else.
What do you mean something else?
Just something.
My forehead? Uthal reaches up to tap his forehead and realizes.
Yeah, Uthal doesn't know that that's on his head yet. Uthal Nearthal
so-
reaches up and you feel your forehead at first, and as you reach up further along your head, you feel an arm of something on your head. And as you touch around, it could possibly be a sundial on your head.
You playing a joke on me?
How could I play a joke on you if I haven't been here? In like 2 months. I've been running for my fucking life. I'm not sure if we're allowed to swear. I don't know if there's a kid show. Well, I'm gonna do it.
Hold on. Are you kidding me, Noctuvita? What?
I saw it.
Noctuvita donated $1,000.
What?
Yeah, I
Wow.
was gonna mention it. until
Holy
Vicky saw.
crap. That is
Holy-
insane.
Fantastic.
Please don't forget to write that off in your taxes, because that is an insane amount to donate. Jeez, Noctuvita, thank you so much. And with that, 100 natty 20s for whoever needs them, including Maggie. So,
Dibs.
So we're playing on purpose.
someone, oh, you know what, Frank, since you're first, and I always go clockwise, roll me, a D100, first of all.
35.
I dropped my phone. Sorry, I got a 35.
Oh, you rolled it already? Okay.
Yep, sorry.
Just didn't pop up on my screen. 35. All right. That's pretty great. You can take 35 natty 20s.
Nice.
That's insane.
Are we allowed to like pass these around to other people or?
No,
are they
that's
just
yours. The 35 are for you. Next up is going to be Roxy. Roll me 1d65. I'm leaving it up to
44.
RNG because that's more fun. 44. Jesus.
44 natural 20s.
44. All right. Erwin, you're next. Roll me 1d21.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing swimmingly.
Nate's sad. Nate's like, oh. Remember, you have to use these in a row, so you're just gonna. This group is gonna be super powerful this time around.
Oh, that's right. We can't save them.
When
Yeah, you
I still
can't save
have a
them. You
nat-
have to spend them.
I still have a nat 1 from last time.
Oh, so you have to start with it. Well, then you
Is
get
there
to
like a
choose.
string command I can use to roll a
Yes,
non-standard dice?
do /R space 1d21. No spaces for that.
Ah, noble
There you go.
9.
9 for you. All right,
That's pretty
minus 9. And last but not least, Nate, 1d12. And the rest I get to keep. Oh, 9. Okay.
Nice.
Not a lot
There
for
you go.
me. That
You
means I
tried.
get 3.
That's good for our survival.
Yeah, that's good for your survival.
Definitely.
I gotta keep track of 44 nat 20s. Oh, no.
How I
We
recommend
have,
doing this.
ticks
On
the
your
character
sheet, there is a space on the, when you go to core, there's a space on the right that says resources. For instance, Roxy, how many did you have?
44.
You had 44. See where I just put 44 and you say nat 20s?
Okay.
You see where I put that?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can write in there what the resource name is, and then you can put the total amount that you have. You'll never have like a total. Normally you just have what you have, but
It's neat.
does that make sense for
Okay.
everybody?
Yes.
Makes it easy to
Other
keep track of them on your sheet, and that way I know as well, so I can look at them. Sweet. That is insane. Thank you, Noctuvita, for the amazing donation to the kids at St. Jude. I'm sure everyone probably who's watching this has had some interaction with the shittiness that is cancer in one way or another. So we really appreciate it. You're helping a lot of amazing families. Just, that's insane. Blah. All right. And I think that also puts us up to I don't know. Now I need to look at what our goal is. Sorry, I'm distracted now. $6,633 $50. So Whew.
Fantastic.
We're really close to that next goal, which is 6,500. Or no, we passed it.
No, we passed it.
We passed it. What was the second? What was that?
Steam giveaway.
Steam giveaway. So we will do a Steam giveaway as well. We're gonna have like one day that there's just gonna be a lot of stuff going on. I will make a big tweet about it and let you guys know so everyone can be prepared for it and come tune in.
That should be an honorary.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be dressed up as 2B. We're gonna play Nier Automata. It's gonna be crazy. So thank you guys so much. It's insane. Cool. Whew. Next up, go ahead and continue your RP. You guys are sitting at the table. Vand walks up and is kind of like, "What's on your head?" And Uthal kind of goes and touches his head and realizes there's a sundial on his head, which he didn't know about, and he's been walking around like that for probably a week now. I don't know if Roxy's shared that with him yet. I think Roxy's been going through her own little crisis of being a blob. Continue your conversation.
All right, Longlegs. Let's experiment really quick. And Van starts climbing up onto the table, drawing his hand axe, and starts tapping, not with the sharp part, with the opposite end, the back of the axe, at the sundial.
Are you just gonna allow him to do that, Uthal?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you trying to take it off of his head, or like?
No, just like this, just tapping the center of the sundial, just a light tap.
Okay.
Not trying to hurt.
Yeah, okay. You're not trying to hurt him. Is there anything in particular you're trying to accomplish with this other than tapping it?
No, Van's just curious. Hi, can you feel that, Longleg?
No. That is weird.
And what does this sundial look to be made out of? Is it?
It looks to be made out of the same material that Uthal's made out of. Some form of rock of some sort, or you're not really sure. What is Uthal's skin like?
It's like a slate almost. So slightly grainy, but not too much. It's more of just a straight color with got a rock.
Yeah, so you see this like a little bit of slate, kind of like, and it's a little bit grainy, and it's protruding out of his head, and it protrudes out, and in the middle is where that little bit that has like the arm for the sundial, and along the edges there's like little ridges around in the circle.
Van is gonna tap a little harder on it, and if Uthal doesn't react, he's going to like look at the sundial, then look at Uthal's arm, and just suddenly like tap his arm a little hard with the hand axe.
Okay. Are you just gonna allow him to tap your arm?
At this point, Uthal might try to block the axe with his hand.
He's not using the sharp end of the axe.
He's using like the blunt end of the axe.
Okay.
Nick, he's holding it backwards, basically.
He'll let him.
Hi.
He wants to see where this goes.
Did you feel that on your arm?
Yes, I did.
And then he goes back and taps the sundial again. But not that.
He probably feels a bit of the recoil from it. A little bit. It's a bit kind of ringy-ish.
So it's a helmet. Okay.
Like someone pushed my head.
Yeah, so that's kind of what he feels.
I think at that point, Van just like says, "Ah, yes, it's a helmet," and just goes and sits down.
So you think it's a helmet?
Obviously, he doesn't know Goliath culture.
All right.
Could be a fashion statement.
Van sits down, and as you look like you're sitting, one of the barmaids kind of rushes over and is like, sir, is there anything I can get you? It's the same lady from the other day. She has like red hair and it's in a braid this time.
I'll tell you straight, lass. I can't afford anything. I can barely afford the room.
You're a hero of the town. I'm sure we can make ends meet.
Well, do you need any wood chopped? Any heavy lifting? I'm fine with working for my wages. And for my drink.
I can ask the innkeeper.
Well, I'll tell you what then, lass. You find me a job, and after I do that work, then I'll, get a drink from you. How's that sound?
You saying get a drink with you?
No, he's saying just get a drink from her.
Oh, get a drink from her. I thought you were hitting on her. I was like, oh,
Oh, no.
snap. Fan getting sassy. Okay.
Oh, no.
She nods and kind of gives you kind of like a weird look like, why would he pass up a free meal? And she walks away, and then she kind of like looks back one more time and then looks back at you, but then looks at the giant mural that's like on the wall, and you're painted there on that mural next to the inn in this insane battle with these fire elementals. And she turns back around again and hurriedly goes back behind the bar, and you see her kind of like talking to somebody over there. Meanwhile, we're gonna go outside of the town, and we're gonna talk to our newest member, Gaz.
Hooray!
So, first of all, what does Gaz look like?
Gaz looks like a trapezoid made out of muscles rising out of the ground to a height of about 5'3". He's this little square half-orc that's usually smiling. He's got little nubby tusks and a bald green head. And when he fights, he just sort of laughs himself into this manic battle rage and kills people with a great axe.
That rage that feels most barbarian, perhaps?
That's right. It is the natural bear barbarian power rage of yore.
So, tell me a little bit about Gaz before we find out how far he's ventured and all of that. What's Gaz's history?
Well, Gaz was a sailor until very, very recently, and his ship got repossessed. He's not sure exactly why, but one day a guy with a letter of credit and a bunch of well-armed guards behind him came to the dock. The captain looked really, really alarmed, and everyone just kind of scattered. He left most of his stuff on board because he couldn't get back on, including his armor. So he's got some despair about his current unarmored status. But now he's sort of wandering the roads looking to sell his skills as a bodyguard, sellsword. He won't do anything really bad. He's chaotic good. But if there's any princesses needing saved, or even, hell, kobolds that need to be fought off by the local hobbits or something, he's trying to earn a few coppers doing that kind of stuff.
Okay, so he's like looking for a job.
Pretty much. He is freshly unemployed and not incredibly happy about that.
Yeah, so freshly unemployed and looking for work. What ended up driving you to head to Flipville specifically?
Well, Gaz despises the open sea, despite having been a sailor for a long time, and he wanted to go somewhere where he wouldn't be hired to swab the deck or have to go out from a port again. So he just sort of chose this town for lack of a better idea.
So you've been on the coast.
Oh yeah.
You're trying to go very far in from the coast, and so
correct.
this takes you probably 3 months of journeying. You take a bunch of jobs here and there as you journey in, and you just continue. You actually do sweep some people's decks for a little bit. You take some bags from these bags of grains from one place to another for another person. Kind of like some boring in ends of jobs in order just to make yourself available, and then slowly get enough pay where you can take a few carts and be able to travel along with some crew. There ends up being one cart specifically that needs guards, and so you agree to guard that cart, and you make your way further inland. From there, you end up taking a couple jobs here and there, and so on and so forth. And as you get closer to the town, about 10 days in, weird things start happening. The trees at one point and all of the grass disappeared and went invisible. You're not really sure what was going on with that. The trees seemed to still be there, though, because you could run into them, but you couldn't see them. The little grass grains on the ground kind of even were disappearing. And then slowly over the days, they started reappearing. One of the other things that you noticed is it's utterly silent. Normally, you would hear lots of birds in the morning when you awake. You don't hear any birds.
That's driving me nuts. I do not do silent introspection at all, and I'm getting a little antsy.
Yeah, there's no birds for miles. You don't even see any. But other than once in a while, as the trees and the grass start reappearing and stuff, you see some dead birds. They're all missing their heads, and it looks like their heads like exploded, and there's bits of grossness like everywhere scattered around. And in some cases, there's flocks of birds that are piled on the ground like this, missing all of their heads. You get closer into town, and as you pass this one house in particular, it looks like it's a large farmhouse. There's windows missing from it. Like, it looks like someone may have, like, Kool-Aid Man style jumped out of the window, because there's like frame of a person, a very large person.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh no, instead of oh yeah. Coming from one of these windows.
Well, I'll impulsively check that out instantly.
Oh, okay, yeah. You kind of tell the cart that you're traveling with, hold off a moment. It seems like something is off. The fellow he's like, hey, and the horse kind of slows down, and you go to a slow trot, and he stays at the end of the driveway. And you are able, you just tell me what you want to do, and I'll kind of explain or tell you to roll anything that I need you to.
I will saunter up to the Kool-Aid Man outline with no heed nor care for stealth or even particularly close observation, and stick my head in to see what's going on inside this house.
Yeah, before you even get to the house, when you look to the left of you, there are carcasses of cows missing their skin. It looks like something sucked the blood right out of them and ate the skin.
Ooh, if I knew the word exsanguinated, I would be thinking of it right now.
And it smells a little weird. There's flies kind of coming off the bodies. And you keep continuing to move on. And you walk up to the house, kind of peek your head into the window. Are you going to climb up and go in? Or because it's like, it's a little bit raised further, but I mean, and you're only 5'3".
Yeah,
so.
if I can fit my girth through whatever hole was left in here, I'll just shimmy on through.
Oh, totally. Roll me like an acrobatics or an athletics to kind of climb your way up the side of the house. You're not going through the front door, you're going through the hole specifically.
Oh yeah. Gotta go through the hole.
Yeah.
Okay, athletics is strength at a 5. That's a 17.
17, because you don't have advantage, no. But you do have a natty 20. You have to use your natty 20 first.
Yeah, if it looks like this is going to be a tough one, I'll blow a natty 20.
So how we normally do all the donations is if you have a natty 20 or a natty 1, you can choose a natty 1 or a natty 20. But you always have to use your natty 1s and natty 20s first.
Before the declaration.
Yeah, before, or no, not before the declaration. You have to use them. Like you can't hold them.
That is your.
Yeah, you can't hoard them.
My
So
next 9 rolls are all 20s. Got it. All right,
exactly.
Okay.
Okay, as long as you understand that.
I'm on board.
I did not explain that necessarily, I don't think. But yeah, that's how we do it. It allows it so that like we keep moving forward, and that way people can keep donating.
Gotcha.
Cool. Yeah, you rolled in athletics, but with a natty 20, yeah, you are able to just climb. You actually jump up. Since you're using athletics, you jump up, you don't even use your strength. You just climb up on top, or you jump up on top, and you land on top of the edge of it, and you kind of walk your way in to the house. As you look around, at first glance, without like doing investigation or really, really looking hard, you see a table that's smashed. To the left of you is like a couch. It looks like someone had jumped up and down on it a lot. Like the feathers that were in the cushions are everywhere. The paintings on the walls are just knocked off the walls. You can't really tell what the paintings are unless you like go up and like really look at them. There's a table that's in the dining room, and it's just in half, and some of the chairs look like they've been used to smash up against stuff. It looks chaotic in here.
This is well over the border from great party into terrible tragedy.
You're not really sure what happened in here. I mean, you can roll an investigation if you wanted to like really investigate, to kind of be like, you know, take the red yarn and kind of like
I'll blow a 20 on investigate just to get stupidly lucky in the course of
Oh yeah, okay. So with the natty 20 on investigation, you look around and it's almost like you can see something that happened here. Like, you know that there was maybe 4 people in this room at one point. It looks like maybe someone was sitting on the couch. Because of the way that the cushions are, it looks like maybe the person who was jumping up and down on the cushion, there might have been another person sitting next to them, not moving. There's a spoon on the floor. Maybe the person who was sitting in that spot was holding a spoon of some sort. The spoon doesn't look like it was used for anything, so it doesn't look like it was put in a tea or anything like that. So it looks like someone was just holding it and dropped it. The painting specifically looked like someone grabbed them and just threw them against the wall. It looks like maybe that person was smaller than the other person that was jumping up and down. Yeah, and it's kind of, you're gathering that there were people in this room and they went a little nuts and started smashing everything. You're not sure why, because obviously you don't know these people, you don't know why. From looking at the paintings, it looks like there was a family that lived here. A mother, a father, and 2 children, a daughter and a son. They actually look like a really lovely family. As you kind of walk around the rest of the house, the part of the house that's not destroyed, everything is perfect. In the kitchen, there is like this just beautiful kitchen with, looks like perhaps somebody had made pumpkin pie the other night. And if you open up where they keep all their food, it just looks like whoever lived here made delicious food. It looks amazing, and if you want, you can grab yourself some as well.
Oh yeah, I'm stuffing my face with something dry.
Yeah, you take like a slice of this pie and you eat it. It's divine, like the best pie that you have had. I mean, you've been traveling for 2 months. This pie is amazing. You've traveled across like the whole continent almost, and you're at the centerpiece of the continent, and you have not tasted pie this good. I mean, you've been across the sea in other lands. This is the most amazing pie that you've ever eaten.
This is much better than hardtack.
Yeah,
I'm looking around perplexed because
you take a couple other rations if you want, and you can have 20 rations.
Okay, great. I'm looking around for a sign of an actual fight, like a blood stain or a knife handle stuck somewhere, because usually when a room is this screwed up, there was a battle.
Yeah. You come back into the room, you're like, okay, everything else seems good in this. Like, everything's clean, everything's well kept. You go back into the other room. You examine it, you look back and forth, and with your natty 20 that you had earlier, you don't find any blood. You're like, that's odd. Now that you've eaten something, you feel like you have a little bit more brain space you're not thinking about your stomach growling, and that's weird. There's no blood. It's almost like whoever was in here was just smashing things to smash things, like with no reason. Like maybe they didn't even mean to do what they were doing.
Well, I'll tell the constable about this when we get to town, and if he wants to hire me to check it out further, then I'll name my price.
Okay.
And I amble back toward the caravan.
Yeah, you climb out the window, you walk your way back over. You're still eating like part of the pie, and you're walking back over.
I start passing out the rest of the crap I took over, but I keep some for myself.
Okay, yeah, the guy who's like, thanks you, and he's like, oh my goodness, this pie is amazing. Oh. It was in the house? Did you find anybody?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. They were all gone. Their living room was all messed up, but the kitchen was in perfect order, and there was fresh food in the cabinet. I don't know what happened. No blood, no knife hilt. We ought to tell the constable about this.
Interesting. He waits for you to like hop it back into the carriage, and there's like 2 other people in there. They haven't really talked much. You kind of hand out some extra rations to them. They kind of like nod and thank you, and he trots along, gets the horseback going, and you guys move forward. As you get closer and closer to the town, weirder things start happening. You actually, the night before you arrive, we'll fast forward a little bit, you hear like really loud roaring, like of some kind of creature. And in the distance, you can see a large creature, and at night, whenever you guys are resting before you travel the next day, you actually see a large winged creature, almost like it's a huge cloud, cover the land and cause like a shadow of darkness upon the land, and then it kind of disappears and fades away again. But it's so far off in the distance that you can't really tell what it is, but it looks dangerous. And as the next morning comes, you are able to get back into the town. It's probably midday, around lunchtime, and you travel up to Bliptville. As you guys enter, to the right of you is a wooden sign that looks unkept. The grass is very long, like no one has really kept up with it. There's some plants that are around it that you could probably tell somebody at one point had made them look beautiful and placed them perfectly there, but now they're overgrown and it doesn't look like anyone's really keeping to them. To the left of you is a stable. There's a couple different animals in the stable. There's a griffin, a horse, and it looks like maybe some chickens that are kind of plucking around on the ground, eating at some corn.
What a wild town.
Yeah. What's your plan as you get into the town?
Saunter into the bar, get a frothy glass of mead and a shank of some protein.
Yeah, the carriage that you originally were joined by, the fellow thanks you for, thank you so much for helping us travel. We felt safer with you here with us, and he tosses you. How much was the agreement that you guys had?
Oh, how long was the trip on this particular leg?
This particular was probably this was your 10-day travel. They needed help getting into Flipville.
So an average laborer is $1 a day, right? I'd say a well-trained guard is probably more like 2 or 3. 3 gold for the whole trip?
Yeah. He probably feels that's fair enough. The tales of Flipville alone are scary, so he actually hands you 4 gold instead of 3, so you can add 4 gold to your equipment. And the 2 ladies that were in the carriage with you kind of saunter out, or like slowly get out. They're very meekly walking out. They look like they're maybe priestess of some sort or something like that. They're fully covered in like long gowns and cloaks, and they get out of the carriage as well as the guy slowly starts moving the cart over and trying to figure out how to get the stable hand to let him leave the horse there. And you kind of wave, thank them for your time, and head on down. The stable hand kind of tells you, oh, there's an inn down that way. Can't miss it. So you head down to the Blipville Inn. As you first walk up to it, it looks like it's kind of a newly made building. There's other buildings all around, but some of them look abandoned. But this building in particular looks like it has like a brand new roof. It's beautiful. Looks well kept, and compared to the other bits of town, it's a little odd. The sign looks old though, like the sign hasn't been redone. A little dusty, and it kind of swings in the wind. And you open the door. You walk in, and to the right of you is a long bar that looks like it's been newly made. There's these beautiful stools that are in front of the bar. There's a bunch of people working, doing things. There's a bunch of people sitting down at tables and chairs in different places. All the tables and chairs match. They look brand new. To the left of you, as you first walk into the door, is also a large board with a bunch of messages on it. Looks maybe like a message board that you've seen in other towns. Some people have those outside. It looks like they keep theirs inside of the inn.
Cool. Is Uthal here?
Yes. You actually see in the middle of the room, kind of closer to the wall on the left, is this large Goliath who is eating a meal. His back is to you, and it looks like something's on the chair next to him. You can't really tell what it is, and a small dwarf is sitting across from him, across the table, and every once in a while the dwarf is looking up at the Goliath and then looking back down.
So I'm oblivious to them for a while, even though he's a huge Goliath. I'm kind of zoned in on heading to the bar, and I'm striking up a conversation with one of the patrons next to me. We hit a good rapport off after a few minutes, and I launch into a sort of projecting my voice but not yelling shanty, and I say, "Nereid girls will do it for pearls, and dwarves will do it for rocks. But if you've got a," and the guy next to me just sort of elbows me really, really hard and points at Uthal, and we whisper for a moment, and I see there's a Goliath sitting right behind me, and the song just ends, and I really quietly go back to drinking my beer with a sip.
Yeah, he's like, I wouldn't talk about rocks.
Yeah, I know how that ends. Don't end that song.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And you continue to drink your
Yes.
drink, and time passes, pending how long you guys would like time to pass. Is there anything anyone would like to do specifically?
I will eventually, in the course of sauntering around meeting people, sit down with the dwarf and the Goliath and share a drink with them. I feel flush because I just got paid, and usually my money just sort of flies out of my pockets.
Yeah,
so I bring them
you
in
go
just
ahead
like-
and chug a couple more beers or ale and mead, and you've kind of been mixing and matching your alcohol. And the barmaid is actually very happy because you've been tipping her quite well.
Oh, yeah.
And so she actually slides over another mug of ale to you, and you take it, and you thank the guy that was sitting next to you for chatting. And you look around, and yeah, that catches your eye. So you kind of walk over, and at first you grab the chair that Roxy's on, and you realize, oh, there's like some weird blob thing in this chair. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you realized you're there. And you pull the next chair next to her that's kind of in between Roxy and Vand, with Uthal to the left of where Roxy's body is.
You three are the most interesting table in this bar by a long shot. How are you? My name's Gaz. Have a drink.
I am Uthal. This is Roxy.
Hi.
Since he realizes that Roxy.
Nate, you're a little quiet. If you want to turn yourself up a smidgen. Just a smidgen. Like, you're quieter than everyone else all of a sudden.
I think it was because my mic moved when I removed the.
Oh,
is that
maybe.
any better? When I removed the clock that was making
Still
a
a
dent.
little quiet.
Okay, let me pull up.
Oh,
my
because you
sensor.
took your clock off your head?
You did
Took the clock off, and it's altered everything.
It was good timing.
I was wondering how you got quiet, because I was like, you were quiet before, and now you're quiet.
Is this any better? Sorry.
Talk again?
Is this any better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
I gotta give you a hand for that. That was a good costume.
It was pretty good.
Making a dent in my forehead though.
Give him a hand because of the clock.
Just
hand.
give it some time.
Yeah.
So Uthal's actually gonna realize that he might be able to undo Roxy's blob form when this new character comes up to the table, and he attempts to cast Dispel Magic on Roxy.
Okay. Are you gonna use the ball that you
No.
had?
This I'm gonna use my actual spell.
Oh
Right.
yeah, because you're level 6 now, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So you actually cast Dispel Magic. What level are you casting this at?
Just the 3rd level.
Oh, 3rd level will be enough.
Yeah.
You start mumbling some words and moving your hands a bit, and you see this happening as you just introduced yourself, and you motion this ball of like it's like some weird energy, and you push it over towards Roxy. And Roxy, you just feel this wave of something like kind of vibrating through, and you like your little blobness jiggles. So you see this like little blob of jello kind of jiggling around, some bones popping in and out of it. And all of a sudden, it starts melding together and moving and motioning, and the bones start around the bones, like thick muscles start appearing around it. And all of a sudden, you slowly become back into your normal shape. I
Yay.
think you might be naked again, because I don't think you're wearing any clothes because you're a blob.
I thought she had the clothes morph with her when she became a blob. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, she
I-
had the clothes, but it wouldn't really fit on her as a blob. Would you have been carrying that, Uthal, maybe?
Yeah, Uthal would have been carrying that
Because she like
if she
yeah.
wasn't wearing it.
Yeah, she just unashamedly puts it on. She doesn't care.
Yeah, so a naked woman, tiefling. I don't know, describe yourself a little bit for us now that you're not a blob anymore.
Yay!
I think we rolled to see how hot you were too at one point because you were naked.
Average.
She was average, yeah. But Uthal,
Roxy, yeah, when she finally forms up, she is 5 foot. She's 125. You notice that she just has long black hair. Her horns, rather than going just straight back, they kind of do the curve down with her hair. Kind of like they're gonna curl into like ram's horns, but don't fully do it. And she's just kind of average size for someone that's about 5 foot, really. There's not anything too distinguishing feature-wise, I guess, other than her horns not doing the whole number.
yeah, everyone in the bar kind of like looks over as they see you are transforming and you become naked, and Uthal immediately like goes over and puts a shirt over you and is like holding something over you in order to like cover up your body. And you don't seem to like care as much, but you like put the shirt on and slowly put some pants on and just at the table. No biggie.
Yeah, no,
Kaz is blushing and laughing uncontrollably in equal great measure.
yeah. If she acted her normal age, she'd be incredibly embarrassed. But she thinks she's 6, so she has her.
Anybody who
willpower
knows
is up here.
6-year-olds, they run around naked all the time.
True.
Yeah, she
What is
doesn't care.
clothes? I don't want this.
Oh yeah, well, I forgot to mention her skin color is also like a maroon red, just to help as well. She's maroon color. Sorry,
You're good.
but yeah, she looks over at Uthal and is like, "Thanks, Uthal. I feel better.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you." She, I guess, proceeds to try to eat.
Yeah,
goes to eating.
she eats and she's kind of like playing with her food a little bit. It's like in a very childish manner eating her food. In some places, like making smiley faces with like the peas and with the potatoes. Like, Gaz, something seems off about her. Like maybe she's like a little special. You're not sure.
She does seem a little special, but Gaz is accused of being a little special a lot too. So he kind of joins in, and when she starts making faces with the potato mash, he jumps in and makes gross orc faces to go next to her happy little girl faces.
Question, and I don't mean to rules lawyer. Would dispel magic also dispel the age one, since he's targeting the creature for all magical effects?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Any spell of 3rd level or lower.
That's a good question.
Because it choose
Hmm.
any creature, object, or magical effect, and he chose the creature.
Aha.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
You chose the creature. You didn't choose like the effect specifically, right?
No, Zuthal wasn't really sure. He just kind of targeted her. He's never used this spell before, other than the one time he used it on himself.
I will say the age thing stays, but your exploding on full moons goes away.
I will take
Oh.
that. I will totally take that.
So you can,
Let's
for those of
swap
you who
that.
didn't know, Roxy was exploding every time there was a full moon. It was, and then reforming the next day. It was a little weird. This happened twice. It
It was kind of terrifying.
was pretty terrifying for me too. I was like, oh god, how am I gonna figure out how to do this? It worked.
Oh,
It
yeah.
actually made for a really traumatic situation. I liked it.
Also, another wild magic effect that's going on is the next meal she has sprouts cactus quills.
Sorry,
So,
what'd you say? Because you have your hand over your mouth. I couldn't really hear.
her next meal sprouts cactus quills. So
Yeah, I would say that's gone as well.
that's gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Thank you.
Well, that
Oh,
seems to work.
I
So your
wasn't
mashed
sure if
potatoes and your peas don't turn into anything weird.
that- Sweet.
But now that you're not a blob, you can actually eat them.
Yeah, it's nice. She's actually happy a bit.
Are you all made out of strange magic in this town? I went to a house on the way here that looked torn up and had really delicious pie in it.
What house? Which
Oh,
one?
it was down about that direction on the road. Looked like a family used to live there until someone ran
farm?
out of the wall. Oh yeah, it was a farmhouse.
Was that the shoe pillish house?
I don't know. I'm new in town. I've only been in this town for half an hour.
He looks
Welcome
over
to
at
the
her.
town. It's crazy.
Thank you. I can tell. My first lunch mates have just reformed themselves out of goo, and I only just sat down.
I wasn't feeling good, and Uthal helped me.
Well, I'm glad. As long as you're feeling better now.
I feel great.
I wonder if I can make this food not taste like bile now.
Here, have some pie. I slide him the super pie.
Yeah, you take some of the pie, and it actually tastes really terrible still. Because you have a thing that makes everything taste bad, right?
Everything
Yeah.
tastes like bile.
Uthal takes the pie and starts gagging when he eats it.
I think Roxy will try to nick some of it before it gets to Uthal.
At any point, has anyone touched Uthal physically?
I don't think anyone has.
I touched you with my weapon.
Yeah, just the weapon, not skin on
Okay.
skin yet. Unless you were like helping Roxy put on her shirt and touched her. But yeah.
Not
Probably
appropriate
not.
with all.
Probably
No.
would have been blocking.
Not touching like that. But you know, like if you're helping someone put their shirt on, it's
Yeah. Just curious.
Consensual touching.
doesn't have to be sexual touching.
That's
Although
a
I'm
consensual.
for it. Let's ship it.
You know, I ship it.
I ship it. I ship it. It's fine. I'm okay with it. Oh.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, so what happened is he just kind of told you that, you know, there's something weird happened in the house down there. You kind of questioned a little bit. And it might be the shoe polisher's house, but seems like the new person doesn't really know. You could maybe ask more specific questions that you know of the place if you want to see if that's the place.
Hey, Uthal, can we go see Miss Shoe Polish again? She was nice.
Maybe later, Roxy.
Aw, why?
They're busy right now.
She just kind of does the whole up and down in her seat, just kind of bouncing in her seat.
I think Van turns to Uthal and like kind of does a quick aside with him. Just, hi, Longlegs. Did she you know that one? Did she?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, Van, last time you talked to Roxy
Yeah.
didn't seem that off. She seems really different.
I don't think I ever met Vland. Like, he disappeared before Roxy showed up.
Oh, right.
One
Never
episode
mind. That's right. Yeah, you didn't meet her.
Like,
That's right. You
I
came
think
in and
I
you
saw- I
saved
saw
everybody.
Vland I saw Vlane for like a second and then he vanished.
Yeah, that's right. You saw him. I forgot that.
She has been a bit off recently. I haven't quite figured out why. It could have been from the exploding magic thingy. She did explode at one point. which
You're
was
still a
pretty-
smidgen quiet, Nate.
Sorry.
A smidgen, I don't know.
Hey,
If
no
you
problem.
can turn yourself up a smidgen.
Okay, let's see. Glad I left this open this time.
Oh, I always have it open just in case.
It's better safe than
Is
sorry.
this any better? Sorry.
Maybe a little bit more?
How's this? Is this good now? Not
You're good now.
peeking or anything.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good.
You're good, boss.
She's been a bit odd since she reformed. At least I think that's what happened. She exploded 1 minute and then came back. It was interesting.
Hi, because not too long ago she was a little bit of a bleh. And he kind of just makes a face. Like he sucks his chin in to like make the fat person face. And now she's well.
Yeah.
So did that do anything to her
Possibly. I do not know how all these magics work yet.
Roll me a int check. Flat.
20.
Oh wait, you get a natty 20, right?
Yeah.
So remove one of your natty 20s.
Who's rolling this?
You would be Uthal. Sorry, yeah, I didn't say who
Okay.
it was.
I'm wasting your nat 20s.
You kind of think back and try to remember when the first time you're like, yeah, she has been acting weird. You're trying to remember back when she first started acting like that. And Roxy, when was the first time you started acting strange?
Literally a couple of minutes before I exploded, we were about to fight some wolves. Everyone was getting ready for combat. Roxy proceeded to turn into 6 years old and stole a torch.
Yeah,
And
it was probably the moment she grabbed for your bag and tried to take something from you, Uthal. That was the moment where you're like, you're having this flashback of you in the forest, and you're in the middle of combat. There's werewolves coming at you. It's like intense battle, and all of a sudden, Roxy's not paying attention to the battle anymore, and she's acting strange, and then she's like kind of digging in your bag while you're trying to like, you know, defend them. It was a strange moment, and then she exploded.
So, thinking back on this, Uthal's probably gonna think it could be another magical effect that may have taken hold of her.
Yeah,
And
perhaps.
he's gonna say to Van, I'm going to attempt to use this new spell that I've picked up again. I don't know if it will affect her anymore or not, but I can try.
There's only one way to find out.